The answers to Ohio State's red zone struggles are already on the roster.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Tuesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we will discuss what the coaches must do to attack these issues moving forward, as well as one player on the offense the Buckeyes can't forget about in the red zone. But first, Ohio State has had 13 tests this season. They have passed 12 of them. That's a pretty good clip when you think about what has happened in this sport and how Ohio State seasons have gone recently. That's great. You're 12-1. That one loss is one that I think Ohio State, if they played just a little bit better, they beat Indiana. Where you got Indiana's A game defensively, Ohio State's offense, they play a tad bit better. They beat the Hoosiers, and they are the kings of the Big Ten football conference. They're not. And one reason they are not is because of the issues in the red zone. There's a 3rd-and-1 call on the 5-yard line in the third quarter. There was another 3rd-and-1 call on the 9-yard line in the fourth quarter. The Buckeyes had the ball in there 5 yards to go, 9 yards to go to get into the end zone. Ohio State didn't score. And part of that is because sometimes you get in the short yardage, you get fixated on a certain style of football, which calls for a certain personnel group. But one thing I think Ohio State loses sight of is that you got 2 first-round receivers on the outside. And just because you're in the red zone does not mean that Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate should not be on the field at the same time. I think we think about the red zone for Ohio State, really short yardage situation for that matter. It's easy to look at, well, they got 14 personnel. They got 13 personnel. They've been doing this all season. Just because they've done it all season doesn't mean they should still do it in the Big Ten title game or in the playoff. And when you've been doing it all season, it's been a struggle. It's been an issue. Why wait until game 14 to fix something that could have been fixed in game number 6? If you put the 2 stars on the outside on the field, you're dictating what the defense does with their personnel. With these 2 plays that I just discussed, the 3rd-and-1 on the 5-yard line and the 3rd-and-1 on the 9-yard line, third and fourth quarter respectively, Jeremiah Smith was on the field for the 3rd-and-1 on the 5-yard line. He was split out wide left. It was 13 personnel. IU put everybody up on. They put 6 guys on the line. They walked up 2 linebackers. They had 10 guys in the box. The only guy that wasn't in the box was D'Angelo Ponzo without throwing Jeremiah Smith. Okay, that makes sense. But if you put Carnell Tate out there, even if IU walks up that many guys, they don't have 2 corners that can play one-on-one with those 2 guys. So you're dictating and you're trying to find a competitive advantage when what you've done all year hasn't been working and the defense of Indiana has been really good all night. Change it up. It's okay, because changing it up is something they're not expecting, and it's in your advantage when you're doing so. The fourth quarter, 3rd-and-1 on the 9-yard line, Ohio State went 14 personnel. And we all know how frustrated I get when you get too many tight ends on the field. These guys have done an okay job. They've gotten better. Nate Roberts is learning his new role, trying to figure out how to block in college. We get it. However, the Buckeyes, if you're on the 9-yard line, 9 yards it in, once again, same concept. If you put your 2 guys on the outside, and let's say you put Ennis out there, and let's even say you split out wide and put Max Clare out there, what are you doing? You're not only dictating the terms of the down and distance, you're dictating the personnel. So IU can't walk up 5 guys, have 5 guys on the line of scrimmage with their hand in the dirt. They can't walk up 4 linebackers and have 11 guys in the box. Make it make sense. Sometimes football is complicated, but sometimes we overcomplicate football as well. When you got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate out there, Smith had 8 catches for 100-plus yards, I think 144. Tate did not have I would assume Tate would have had 7 or 8. No, he didn't. He kind of was missing in action at times. And I don't know if he was still banged up. I am not sure. But the answers are there. If you lean into Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate while they're both on the field, you are going to have more success in the red zone. And this is not saying you have to throw the ball to them. When you have those guys out there, you might force the opposition to play a nickel or to play a linebacker out there that's not as good in coverage. You put Max Clare, split him out wide, you put Ennis on the field. All of a sudden, I know it's not the typical big boy brand of football that Ohio State wants to run in the red zone. And I don't blame Ohio State from going away from it because it's not consistently working. It is working at times, but it is not consistently working. Figure out a way to get these two guys on the outside, run a pick route, run a fade, run an RPO, run things that you would run in normal yardage situations that you know work consistently. I know it's a little bit different when you're in the red zone and it's a condensed space in the field and you don't have as much space to move and to operate. However, while that's true, this is also true. No team in America, no team, has the ability to stack the box, go one-on-one on the outside, and to defend both Tate and Smith perfectly. No, they don't. So if they don't have the chance to do that, why don't you take advantage and utilize your first-round wide receivers? Carnell Tate, first-round receiver, probably going to be the first receiver drafted in 2026. Jeremiah Smith, the first receiver drafted in 2027. These are not me making bold statements. This is reality. Carnell Tate's a dog. I don't know how healthy he is, but we know that he was out there on the field and he made some routine catches that Carnell Tate normally makes. Lean on your playmakers. I know that it may go against conventional wisdom when it comes to red zone offense, but we saw against Michigan, Brandon Ennis run a pick route or a rub route when Max Clare was the pick man and he was trying to open up space and clear out space for Brandon Ennis to get open to catch the ball. He got there. He caught the ball. Sam put the ball exactly where it needed to be. Ennis caught the ball. Ohio State scores. If you do that over and over and over again, what are you going to find? That maybe there'll be a time when you try to go heavy and it works a little bit more because you pull it out. The defense is late getting guys out there. As soon as they get set, they don't have the normal time to get on the field to get their hand in the dirt, to see the lay of the land, and then to get ready to go attack the offense. You are dictating the pace. And I think it's one of the issues with Ohio State's offense in the red zone. They're not dictating the pace. They're allowing sometimes the defense to dictate what's going on. And think about it. Wisconsin, UCLA, there were teams that Ohio State played that were bad, that had some okay rush defenses and had some big guys in the middle that can clog things up. Indiana was quick up front. When you see 5 and 6 down linemen, you see every gap is covered, and you know how they've been playing a defense while you are marching down the field. Maybe, just maybe, try to do something a little bit different. I know they've been trying some rollouts to the right, sometimes to the short side of the field, so you're cutting off the amount of space you have to even operate. Once again, make certain decisions that allow your playmakers to flourish. Maybe that's the word I've been looking for the entire time. If you allow Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate to be on the field and you target them and you find ways to get them open, the offense will start to flourish in the red zone. Let's just say Ohio State puts points on the board on the 3rd and 1 of the 5 in the third quarter, and when the Buckeyes have the ball 3rd and 1 on the 9-yard line in the fourth quarter. Let's say those two opportunities are points, field goals. Let's just go a little bit smaller. You win the game. If everything else stays the same, you win the game. So it's not so crazy to think about if you put Tate and Smith on the field, and let's say Ennis as well, what are you going to find? You're putting playmakers out there. You're dictating the personnel. You're dictating what the defense might try to do to you. Also, you know your guys are better than theirs. You know it. Now, at this point of the game as well, you got a good handle on Indiana's defense. So while it was a little bit of a struggle earlier on, you figured out how to attack them. So when you put those guys on the field in the 3rd and 4th quarters, you know what they can do, how you should attack them, and what will work. Speaking of what will work, there's a guy on the Buckeyes offense that they should not forget when they get down to the red area. This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holidays come with 2 big goals: feeding people well and finding gifts they'll actually love. And when you want both handled in one move, Omaha Steaks is the way to go. From hosting to gifting, they deliver the world's best steak experience right to your door. Because during their Sizzle All the Way sale, you can stock up and save in a huge way. 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com, and it gets even better. Locked On College listeners get an extra $35 off with code COLLEGE at checkout. I've sent Omaha Steaks as gifts before, and the reaction is always the same. This is the best gift ever. I love how easy it is to gift. Shows up frozen, packed beautifully, ready to cook. So many options: fillets, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. You can build a box for anyone. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com. Code COLLEGE. Thank y'all for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day, and for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you're a true diehard Buckeyes fan, the Everyday or All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com. Once again, go to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. Speaking of all access and trying to find ways for the Buckeyes to have all the opportunities to attack defenses when they get down in the red area, it seems like more often than not, the Buckeyes roll out number 12 out there in short yardage situations. And Donaldson was a transfer from West Virginia that I don't think lived up to the expectations that a lot of Buckeye fans had for him. You're coming from West Virginia. You were a 2,000-yard rusher for your career in the 3 years you were there in Morgantown. This is also coming after Quinshon Judkins transferred to Ohio State and ran for 1,000 yards, Henderson for 1,000 yards, and all of a sudden you got two guys going up to the National Football League ready to tear up the NFL. Now, Jonathan was never going to be hyped up or never going to be the back that those guys were. He came to Ohio State. He cut weight. He bought into the strength and conditioning program and the nutrition program that is there in Columbus. But the productivity on the field just never really got to where I think a lot of people's expectations were for him. And a lot of that is because Ohio State has a tendency to put number 12 there in short yardage situations, especially in the goal line. You drive 60 yards, 65 yards, you get down to the red area, 20 on in, 15 on in. The next thing you know, 12 comes on the field, 25 goes off the field. And I know it makes sense to put the heavier guy down there, but the best back is easily Bo Jackson. He got you down there to that part of the field. Let my man punch it in. And I think when you start to lean into your playmakers and you start attacking and start putting your foot on the gas in the way that Ryan Day said Ohio State was going to put their foot on the gas, what you're going to find is that these guys are really hard to stop when you're putting them in the right situations to be successful. I think Ohio State's offense has been successful, but there are gears and there's a mode that they have not even touched yet. Unless this is the peak of Ohio State's offense, which I firmly believe is not the case, I believe there is another level to attack. Now, if you have to go this slow, if the issue is going this slow, and that's the big reason why the red zone is an issue, because you're not only putting in big guys, but you're moving very slow when you're down there. You're allowing the defense to catch their breath, but also allowing the coaches more time to game plan and to put the right players on the field. If that is the case, speed this baby up. While you speed it up, leave Bo on the field. Bo Jackson does a great job with his vision. There was a play this past game against Indiana. It was a run left. I believe Tegra pulled, and it wasn't Tegra's fault. Indiana played great defense, and they clogged it up. They read it perfectly. They clogged it up, and all of a sudden, Bo Jackson cuts back right and gets positive yards. And he finds a way to get positive yards when it seems like there is no way. It's one of the best things about him as a young back, but also one of the things that is really hard to put a finger on and say, how does he do that? I don't know. He sees it, he feels it, and he goes. He sees it, he feels it, and he goes. Why don't all the backs do it? Because it's not that easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. But also his contact balance, his ability to know how have a great feel and have a good flow when understanding once he gets to the second and third quarters, he is up to speed. He has those game hits, those game nicks and dings that are helping him be like a boxer and get confident and gain more steam as he's toting the rock. And when you get up to the red area, not only should you have Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith on the field, you need number 25 on the field too. If you roll out there with this personnel grouping, and I know Ryan Day and, well, mainly Hartline wants to have these big bodies down there in the goal line to try to punch it in, sometimes you got to spread guys out. Because I believe his offense is best when you spread them out, go 3 wide, put Max Clear out there, you let Bo Jackson in the backfield, maybe Isaiah West every now and then, and you let the chips fall where they may. I believe that's where the offense is the best. Now, if you want to do the Ryan Day 12 personnel and you want to have more of the Mitch Rossi offense, cool. I'm cool with that. Mitch Rossi was a good H-back, moved a little bit, played a little fullback. I don't think you have that body type on the team right now, at least on offense. Maybe you could put a guy on defense out there to move back and forth a little bit, but I don't think you're going to try to do that right now to teach him a new position when it's literally win or go home. You're in a must-win area in a must-win part of the season. Yeah, everybody knew that when you went to Indianapolis to play in the Big Ten title game, that it was basically the equivalent of playing a conference championship tournament in college basketball. If you make it to the conference championship game in said tournament, if you win it, great. You get an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. But in reality, most teams that make it that far, at least in the power conference, you're going to make it to the NCAA tournament anyway. So it's not like you need that to get in. It's not like you're Duke in the ACC that when you're winning the ACC title, you think, oh, we have an opportunity. No, you're not good enough. You're 8-5. You're literally 8-5. That's not good enough to get into the NCAA, into the CFP. It's not good enough at all. But in college basketball, if you make it that far, they might, even if you're poor in the regular season and you struggle a little bit, but you find a way to get above 500, they might let you in because it's what have you done for me lately? And that's where we are right now with the sport. It's kind of what have you done for me lately? It's weird that we're here, but that's how the cookie has crumbled. Put Bo in short yardage situations. Don't overthink it. Don't try to make it cute. Put him in. Now, if you want to go in short yardage and go 12 personnel, great. Do it. But the 13 and 14, I think that's hurting the team. Overall, this is not just a red zone conversation. This is short yardage overall. If you look at Ohio State's games and see throughout this season, part of the issue, sometimes it's not even personnel as far as like having the right guys, having the guys, Smith and Tate on the field, excuse me. Some of it is you're getting in your own way. And having Donaldson out there instead of Jackson is a sign of Ohio State getting in their own way, because it seems like every time Donaldson gets in there, I won't say all the time, but there are numerous times he gets out there, first carry in the short area. What happens? He gets stopped, no gain. Now, granted, it's good defense at times. Sometimes the puller is not getting around clean enough, getting into the hole, kicking out like he's supposed to. Sometimes it's off with the line blocking. Sometimes it's not reading the hole properly. There are lots of issues when it comes to short yardage area because you don't have a lot of room to operate. So every inch and every movement is magnified. And it's also magnified in the red zone when Bo Jackson is not out there on the field. It's a little weird this past week against Indiana that he didn't have 100 rushing yards, because you would think with the way that he is running, especially what he did against Michigan, you would lean on him a little bit more. I understand why you didn't. The O-line had a tough time blocking Indiana, but if you allow Bo, and even if you do call some draws or something, or call the shovel pass, whatever the case may be, if you get a little creative while having Bo on the field, the defense you're going to keep the defense honest, and you're going to have a better time, an easier time, putting the ball in the end zone. Speaking of putting the ball in the end zone, that's Hartline's role as a play caller, is to make sure the Buckeyes put the ball in the end zone. And I think there are some pretty key decisions he can make moving forward to make sure the Buckeyes capitalize on every red zone opportunity. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. Alerts for teams and matches make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. I love what Brian Hartline is doing with his career as a coach and going back to the Sunshine State and making sure that he was very strategic about when he left Ohio State. He went to the place that he wanted to be. And honestly, think about all 50 states and all the great football that's played all around the country. It's hard to be Florida, man. It is hard. I spent 4 years there in Florida from 2008 until 2012. And I went from Florida to Arkansas back up to the Midwest. And let me tell y'all, Florida is something different, man. Florida is different. Well, while Florida is different, the sunshine down there is going to bake on his skin, and he's going to really enjoy it every second he has when the rays hitting him. He can't allow that to cloud his mind and his vision with the process of making sure Ohio State capitalizes in the red zone. Not just red zone, short yardage situations. We can even do third down. That's maybe a whole different topic and maybe a whole different show, because the third down stuff, that's puzzling too. You have some issues in the red zone. You also got issues in third down, and you got some dogs on the outside, which is why when it comes to Brian Hartline, we already discussed him putting a plan in place, but he must work. Let me just kind of jokingly put a phrase together that I think about when it comes to teachers in school with youngsters. Learn to work well with others, because when you're working well with others, everybody is happier. Now, I'm not thinking he does not work well with his coworkers and his colleagues. I'm not trying to make a joke about it, but that's literally the mindset and the concept right now. Make sure you work well with others, because it's going to make your entire project a whole lot easier, because it is. You're not. He just hopped on a plane, I believe a couple days ago, to go down to Tampa to do his introductory press conference and to be down there this week working with his new team. Happy for him. Really happy for his career path and his career growth. But while you're away, he must trust Tyler Bowen, Coach Key, Coach Lachlan. He must trust Devin Jordan. He must trust those guys that are there at practice, that are there in the meetings, that are there helping Hartline while Hartline's away doing his new job, playing double duty. He must trust them to do their jobs properly. Don't overstep. Don't go crazy. Don't do any of that stuff. Just trust them. Because while he is away, he has a plan. Ryan Day is a great offensive coordinator. Ryan Day, to me, if he's not the best in-game play caller, he's number 2 and number 3 in the country. Sark's pretty good. Lane Kiffin's pretty good. Ryan Day, man, when Ryan Day is in his bag, man, he is tough to stop. Tough to stop. And I think while Ryan Day can help him, Ryan Day doesn't want to overstep. It's almost like when you're the head coach, yeah, you give the input, but you know that Hartline is the leader of the offense. But Ryan Day can run the offense while Hartline is gone, and they'll be just fine. There may be certain tweaks that he may make, but it's all the collaborative everyone putting the game plan together. And I think sometimes, let's get this off my chest. I think sometimes when it comes to a collaborative effort with the game plan, the play calling, in-game play calling, I think the collaborative effort when calling plays in a game sometimes can be a little bit too much. Sometimes it's just one guy that just works with his brain and that call sheet to make sure everything is done properly and everything is smooth. Sometimes one person is enough. Now, there are times that you see it in all the sports where there is a head coach that needs his assistants to make certain decisions, or he allows an assistant to be the defensive guy, to be the offensive guy. And why? He makes sure that he delegates properly. I remember when Larry Bird was the head coach of the Pacers, and I'm going back to the late 90s now, and Rick Carlisle was the quote-unquote offensive coordinator, and Larry Bird had a defensive coordinator on a basketball team. And Larry Bird really wasn't the offensive or defensive coach at all. He coached the team, but he allowed those assistants to have a big, big role, and he delegated properly. But there was full trust when he was doing that. Pacers went to the Eastern Conference Finals in 98, lost to Michael Jordan in Game 7. 99, I believe, was another trip to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost to the Knicks on a play that they called a 4-point play that I honestly believe was not a 4-point. I mean, whatever, man. Larry Johnson made the shot. He put the L up. It annoyed me. I think about that right now as I'm on this show, thinking about that and realizing that still haunts me, and it's a 2025. Think about how long that has been since Larry Johnson hit that shot there in the Garden, and it bugs me. That happens to us as sports fans. The year 2000, went to the NBA Finals, lost to the Lakers in 6. But Larry Bird had success as a coach because he realized what he could do, and he also understood the roles of his assistants. Every assistant at Ohio State was hired by Ryan Day for a specific purpose, and that specific purpose is going to help Ohio State achieve and accomplish their ultimate goal. Well, Brian Hartline has to have full trust. He can't come back like a bull in a china shop and just trying to say, no, you messed up here. You didn't follow the plan here. We talked about this before I left. We got text messages. We got phone calls. We went through all of this. We dotted every I. We crossed every T. And all of a sudden, we were in lockstep. We were in unison. And I come back and you mess stuff up. Hartline would be upset. And honestly, I wouldn't blame him. There's full trust in all of these guys because not only is Hartline the guy running the offense, they got to answer to Ryan Day. And unless something happened that I don't know about, Ryan Day is still the head coach there in Columbus, Ohio. Lead Ohio State right now, preparing them for a game in a few weeks. They got a first-round bye, and they're going to go down there to the Cotton Bowl and put on a show. A show. I know they got Miami or A&M. I know they're good teams. I know they got dogs on both teams. Ohio State's still different. I am not going to lean into the Debbie Downer mindset of losing to Indiana and not being a Big Ten champion and allow that to cloud what Ohio State has done all season long. Yeah, they got issues in the red zone. Those are fixable. Those answers are on the roster. Yeah, sometimes they don't put Bo Jackson down there in the red zone. Give that man the rock. He got you there. Let him take it home. But also for Hartline, playing double duty, trust his assistant coaches. Let Ryan Day be the head coach. Don't try to overstep and be the head coach of two teams, because I guarantee if that happens, Ryan Day will put him down and say, hey, look, you are down there in Tampa. I am here in Columbus. Let's make sure we keep this thing the right way and don't make anything crazy. This team could still win the national championship with all the stuff going on. Patricia and Penn State, well, Penn State trying to come after Patricia. You have Chris Henry Jr., and that was I won't say 3-day circus, but that was a long 2 days. A long 2 days. Hartline calls Day. Day gets on the phone with Chris Henry Jr.'s representatives late, and also early in the morning. The next thing you know, all these schools try to come in, trying to prepare for Indiana. There are obstacles that come with the job, and maybe they got in the way. Regardless of what happened last week, there are games that Ohio State is trying to play this year. And if they do what they set out to do before the beginning of the season, they will attack a national championship with a fire they have not attacked it with throughout this season yet. And they will win back-to-back national championships for the first time in school history. I firmly believe this team can do it. And if they play Indiana again, I have a feeling, I know Ohio State can win the rematch, but I have a good feeling that Ohio State will play not a little bit different, a lot different on both sides of the ball than they did during the first meeting. Thank you all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and for making this show your first listen of the day. Did Locked On Buckeyes make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our National Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen a Locked On College Football. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.